on later because you have to repeat it again.
No, it's okay. We'll if folks jump in 15 minutes, we'll just catch them up to speed. So this is the architecture, March 3rd architecture meeting. We're going to do a little bit of coding today. So it's going to be more collaborative coding. And welcome, Joseph and Arvind. And let me share my screen and we'll kind of dive in here. Get some stuff cleared up out of the way.
Just so you know, guys, I'll stay for only 15 minutes. I'll have to catch up with some things, but I just wanted to have a view of how things are run over here, how things go over here. So
yep,
today.
No problem.
All right.
So okay. Wait for this project to open. There we are. Okay. So one of the things that Ortelius does is it goes and grabs information from the build process, and it'll take that information from the build and capture that, and we store that as a component version. So let me go ahead and log in and show you what ends up happening. So this is one of the things that I've been working on is moving the data that we collect, all these variables and stuff, out of the pipeline itself. So if like in Jenkins, you have a Jenkins pipeline file, it's called a Jenkins file. In the past, we'd put all this information into the pipeline file. And what ended up happening was the pipeline file ended up being very unique to that microservice. So to be able to make the pipelines more generic, we separated it into a separate file. So in our case, we use a Google Cloud Build to build all of our demo microservices. So what we ended up doing is we have these couple steps. So we can actually see here, we're actually doing the Docker build at this level. Now, one of the things that happens in these different online build tools is they have different ways to pass data from one step to the next step. In Google Cloud Build, you can pass things through the workspace file system. So that file system is mounted between every single step. So you can have access to that. Now, one of the weird things is in the Google Cloud Build is you can't pass environment variables from one step to another step. So if I set an environment variable in the login step here, when I get to the build and push step, that environment variable isn't available. So the way you get around that is by pushing it to your environment variables into a script. And then this is just a regular Unix command to run that script and reload the environment variables into that process. So that's the one way you kind of like move data between all these different steps. Now, every cloud build tool, like whether it's going to be GitHub Actions or Google Cloud or like Jenkins, they're all going to work slightly different on how you can move things from one step to the next. But basically, in general, the safest way that I've seen is to put the environment variables that in the data that we want to share from step to step into a file, and then you load that file in. So if we go back to our component, we'll see things that come out from the environment. One of the variables that comes out of the environment for Google is like the build ID. That's one of the variables that gets like pre-populated. Another one is the short SHA is another variable that gets pre-populated. Things like the Git repo, those are something that we can derive by looking at the workspace. So what ends up happening is one of our first steps that we end up doing is this one does it for us. Other build tools, you have to actually do it. But what ends up happening is we end up checking out from the Git repo our project, and that ends up in our workspace. So you can think of it as you have a local clone in your workspace at that level. Because we have the access to the our Git workspace, our Git repo, we're able to do Git commands against that. So that's where, like in this case, the Git repo, the Git URL, some of those commands we can actually derive on the fly by doing a series of Git commands. Like if you want to get the URL, it's like git remote -v. Basically will get you the repo URL and stuff like that. So what ends up happening is we have our CLI program, which is called DH. So it's going to be down here. The DH compound CLI is where we're able to interact with it's the bridge between like the Jenkins and the TOML file and all the RESTful APIs that run the Ortelius on the back end. So if you guys want to take a look at that, it is actually out there. Let me navigate to that. And it will be this comp update is the project name. And it's basically a Python program that it's broken into two parts. The first part is kind of like the main driver program. This is the one that does the interface with all the parameters and stuff like that. And it's based on a set of actions. So there's like a environment script, key values, assigning, importing, exporting of data. The one that we use the most that we'll be using in our pipelines is the update component action. And the other one that we'll see is the deploy action as well utilized. So what ends up happening is we'll run our workflow here. Our workflow will have our DH steps in it. One of the first ones that we will do is to create our environment file. So basically we do a pip install of the CLI, and then from there we actually go ahead and create a new script that contains all the environment variables. Now, one of the things that we did was we added this export section. So we didn't have to have data split between the pipeline and the TOML file. So when we tell the CLI, go create me a new SH file based on the TOML file, what it's going to do is it's actually going to take some of the variables that it can resolve from the attributes and some of the other variables like at the higher level. And so in this case, we're going to take the variant, which comes from the branch name. And the branch name is a variable that's populated by cloud build. And then we're going to take the version, and the version is made up of the build number and the short SHA. Now the build number is another variable that we calculate based on, I believe it's passed by Google Cloud Build as well. and same with the short SHA. So what ends up happening is we're just kind of consolidating all these variables into one place, and that will allow us to go ahead and export details back to that shell script that we're utilizing here. So that's what we're doing at this level. And then we just basically source it and just print it out so we can see what's happening to make sure it's working at that level. So when we do that, we'll go through our build, and then we actually get to our update component step, which again reads the TOML file and more information that was added on to the shell script. So one of the weird side effects of Docker is you can't get the Docker digest until it's been pushed to a repo. So we actually go and calculate that, and then we go ahead and append that to the file. So we have all of our variables, and when we run that command, what ends up happening is, let me log in here. We are going to see that we get a new component, and in that component, we can see things that we've got passed across. So the build URL, the registry, the git commit, the repo that was used, all this other detail that we're able to come across, like the Slack channel. So we should see the Slack channel over in our TOML file here. So that's where we keep on passing, grabbing this information and pulling that data across. Now, one of the things that it'll also do is look for, if you don't supply it in the list here, it'll go and look for things that exist, because we're running in the context of the Git workspace. So we'll pull in the README file and a Swagger file if they exist. So if we look back here, we should have our Swagger. That's our open API, either will work. Our README, and I think there should be a license file in here probably. There it is, the license file. So that stuff is automatically grabbed by our command line as part of that process. So what we need to do for our coding exercise is we need to go and add the component TOML file to all of our repos for the hipster store microservices. And this is where we'll find things that are specific, the application, like where it's stored in the domain hierarchy, whether it's in store services or payment processing. So those will be some of the things that end up changing. Like the Docker repo will change, the chart will change. So there'll be some things, the owner will change. There'll be some things that change, but a lot of it's going to be similar as part of that process. So we need to make sure we have a component TOML file for every one of our microservice repos. We need to make sure that the cloud build is updated to use the new format of calling the our CLI, and then from there we'll be able to validate that we have everything being populated back over on the Ortelius and Deploy Hub side. So this is where we'll be able to gather the data right now. Right now we're pushing it over to the Deploy Hub SaaS, the free version of, so basically it's hosted Ortelius as part of that process. Just because our Ortelius that's running on Azure isn't quite stable enough. And that's what some of this is going to fix as part of this process. So if we go back to GitHub, go to Ortelius. what were they called? I think they're called store. There they are. So these are the store services that we need to update. Oh, and one other thing I was running into with the store services, a lot of this is the example that comes from Google, and this example is a little bit out of date. So the some of it won't compile anymore because of they've updated the .NET Core, for example, as part of that process. So one of the things I did just to get us over the hump is the Docker file. I just changed it over to an Alpine base image. So instead of actually building and compiling code, because we don't need it for the demo, we never run the demo. We just we never run like the Hipster Store website. We just go and gather. We just use it for the build, something to build. So we'll need to change the Docker file for all of these workspace Git repos as well. So a good one to start with should be recommendation service. Let me see if it's actually pushed. Double check it. There is our component toml. Yep, that looks good. So recommendation service is going to be one of the ones that we can kind of break out. You can use it as your starting point. And then I hate when it does this. I believe maybe shipping service, maybe another one that's done. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like shipping service has been completed as well, are pretty close. You'll see some of the things that one of the things I noticed here is like if we compare the toml files, this one has, I believe, GitHub lines added and deleted and a commit timestamp that we're picking up. Now, one of the interesting things with the lines added and deleted, the way we figure that out is by going to find the previous version of the component, grabbing that git commit from that component, and we know the git commit for this component, and there's some git commands that'll give us lines added, deleted between two SHAs. So that's how we go and grab that information. If it's not specified, the CLI will go ahead and insert that data if it can determine it. So from like getting started and working on stuff, this is where we'll start just kind of divvy up the store services and give those a go. And once we get the store services updated, then we need to actually do our microservices as well. So we have our 6 microservices here that will need to add in the same toml files and same information to these as well. But I want to give the store services a go because we're not going to break anything if we mess anything up. So this is a really nice little playground for us to work with. So with that, I'm just going to take some questions and stop sharing. So Arvin, does that kind of help give you an idea where we're going to start?
Yeah, but how I get the data or what to change?
Yeah.
Like we have to change the text and the versions.
Oh, yeah. So to grab the data, I will give you, if you, yeah, my screen is blanked out. I'll give you the user ID that we can log in with, and we can see, let's say you take ad service, you can go into the existing ad service and you can see that it's in store services as well. the name of it's going to be ad service. And I think in it, one of the old ones will be like the chart name as part of that process. So you could use, we'll be able to get some of this information from the old data in here. Again, it's not 100% complete because it's like missing a Swagger file. It's missing some other stuff as part of that process. So like to get the lines of code, those things are missing from some of these. So here, we don't have the lines of code and like the git commit timestamp. So for like the name of it, we'll be able to, look at the old data and get that pulled from there. So let me drop in the chat the user ID.
If you want, I can make my own account.
It'll be what ends up happening is if you make your own account, you get your own copy of all the store services. So we want to make sure that for the demo purposes, everything's updated in one place. So let me just put it in the chat. So you go to and the user ID is still it's a real unique user ID and password. So who did we just have join here? Hey, Sasha. So Tracy, the calendar invite's off by a half hour.
Yeah, I got the login.
Okay.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Sasha.
Also, I want to share that the CD core team replied to me and they asked me to fill this form, this scholarship form. I shared in the chat.
Nice. Well, let us know if you need help filling that out.
Yeah, I need a lot because in which I have to fill the amount that is needed. The amount is decided by me. The airplane is decided by me. So it's sort of fun.
Okay. Well, I'll take a look at it. And what's the deadline date on that?
It's at a lot. April 8, 2022.
Okay.
We have a lot of time.
Okay. Hey, Sasha. Oh, you're on mute. So
Hey, Steve. How's it?
Good.
Arvind, I just looked at this form. It looks pretty straightforward. You're going to have to look for your airfare.
Airfare. Nice.
I know. Check out the airfare, and I'll write this section that says briefly describe the ways in which you're involved in technology and open source communities and why you would like to attend this conference. I'll write you a paragraph for that.
Okay, and
but you're
we
gonna
are also asking for the estimated travel cost.
You have to get the you'll have to look online. Just go online and look to see. They should know what the hotel cost is.
Yeah, because it'll probably be under the block for the CDCon. We'll usually reserve a block.
So I figure $400 US a night for the hotel at minimum. And so that's $1,600 for the hotel. And then you got to figure out your hotel, your travel cost, your flight.
Yeah.
So try something like Orbitz or Travel Velocity.
$1,500. It's quite steep, eh?
Yeah, it's when we get into the trade show season in like San Diego and certain towns, if you go to like a trade show in San Francisco,
Yeah.
normally a hotel will be like maybe $200 a night, and then when a trade show comes into town, it'll go up to like 600 a night.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just look.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it is.
I'll find a campsite. Fine with me. Or Airbnb. Actually, Booking.com is cheaper than Airbnb.
That I have to include the food for the food also.
I don't think they'll cover food. They're just going to cover hotel and airline.
And they usually have food as part of the.
Yeah, you can eat at the conference.
Yep.
Okay.
Go, Arvind, go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will search for the airline and I will then send you that information.
So let me jump back and share my screen. We had a little mix up on the time today, Sasha. So I kind of went over what we need to do. But I will catch you up real quick.
Yeah, sorry, I thought it was 30:30, and then I was still in a
You-
meeting at work.
You're correct. It's supposed to be at 30:30, but the meeting invite was the old one. So no
Oh, okay.
worries.
No worries.
So what we're going to do is some DevOps pieces to get all of our example microservices. So we use that hipster store as the for all of our kind of like demo stuff. So one of the things that we need to do is there's, I think, 14 microservices that are part of the hipster store, and we need to get them converted over to the latest version of the CLI interface as part of that process. And what that'll allow us to do is we'll be gathering and passing along from the in our case Google Cloud build, like the service owner, the Discord channel, the README, the Swagger, the build information, all is going to get passed along from the cloud build side. And one of the things that we've done is we've actually switched it from the pipeline having all of the data in it. So let me pull up an old one, and I can show you kind of like where it kind of looked like. I think let's try that one. Currency. No. Where did I put it? Because I know I haven't gotten to all these. Let's look at front end. Oh, I just did like a copy. All right. So if we go back over to, I can get. And look at store. And let's look at currency service. Don't think this one's been updated. Yeah. So if we look at the one from 2 years ago, we were gathering a bunch of information as like a bunch of command line parameters. So we have all this big long line of all the command line parameters. that we want to gather from the cloud build. So we basically had in here hard coded, what the names are, things like that of the service. And what that caused us to do is to have a very specific data in the pipeline instead of it being generic. So we split it out to have a TOML file that contains all of the variables. So, like the unique data. So this is recommendation services.
So you went to the TOML. Weren't you investigating this the other day? You asked a question about this, remember?
Yep.
Is that the question? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So what we did was we changed over to having the TOML file. And then basically what we're doing is that long line I was showing you now is just a simple one-liner with everything coming from the TOML file.
Smart.
Now, one of the weird things that we run into with the different cloud build tools is how they pass data between steps. So if we have like the environment variable here, the user ID password for Quay, we expose that at this step, the login step of the build process. Now, when we get to the build and push step, those variables don't exist. These tools don't share environment variables from step to step. So what you have
why not?
to
Don't you have a centralized source?
Well, what they do is they allow you to share a volume mount, basically, because these actually in the background end up being Docker images that are running.
But can't HashiCorp Vault, as an example, would solve this issue, right?
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah, because this is what we use. We use HashiCorp Vault for all our variables, and then I only have to I only add the vault piece to my specific component for the password or secret that it needs.
Yeah. So what we end up doing is a workaround, and this works well with all of the tools without having like HashiCorp installed, is you can, because there's a shared some sort of file system between the different steps. What you do is you write the variables to a SH file, and then you just source them in. So when you source them in, it ends up being exposed to the subsequent processes.
Is that because it's stored in memory?
Well, this is what right here. These are all executed in the same bash shell script process.
Okay, so it's the same process, so it knows about that sourced file.
Yep.
You're refreshing. So each step, you're refreshing that configuration each time by sourcing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
And then there's a case where we need to calculate the digest of the image that was pushed, because you can't calculate a manifest digest until it's actually been pushed to the repo. So you can build it, but if you build it, you don't have the digest. So what you have to do is actually, after the push, go ahead and calculate the digest, and then we just append to that file. So the next steps, when they go, we'll source it and have that new variable exposed as well. So finally,
that is super smart. Sorry, man, that is so smart.
So finally, we get to the step where we're going to update deploy hub with the information.
Yeah.
And so that instead of having that really long command line, it's a combination of the TOML file and information that we're getting from the environment. So in this case, because we're under cloud build, like the short SHA is a built-in environment variable from cloud build. I believe like branch name is another one that we gather from the build system as part of that process. Some other ones, because the workspace is where the git clone happens to. When you do your git clone, it goes into your workspace directory. We can actually do git commands against that and we could figure out the timestamp of the last commit of the short SHA. We can go and grab the previous commit from deploy hub or Ortelius, and then we have 2 commits that we can compare and get lines of code added and deleted. Those type of things can
Can I
happen
ask
in
another
the
question?
background.
So what happens with your secrets now? Are they exposed in that sourced file?
They, in this case, where
I
was
mean,
it?
because you're going
No,
from build step to build step, right? So are you
Yeah.
are you pushing them into? I'm sorry, I just find this so awesome. Like you are sourcing that information into that cloudbuild.sh, which is essentially write a bash script, right?
yeah. So in this case, I'd have to double check. I can't remember. We'll have to look at the output to
Oh.
see if the so basically what we do here, one of the first steps that we're doing here is we're taking information from the TOML file plus information from the environment. So this is like kind of global variables that we've defined, and we're combining that information together and creating the shell script. Now, what ends up happening on most of the build systems is it is true that the DH user and DH pass will be in the shell script, but when you sort it and you go to print it out, the build systems node and mask it, so it doesn't show up in the output.
Because that's smart.
So what we end up doing is, and the reason why we have this initial step to create the like our starting SH file is we wanted to have everything in the TOML file. So instead of having like the component version defined up at like this environment level, which would mean I'd have to have a different cloud build YAML file for every single project instead of a generic one. What we did was we put it into the TOML file here, and I have an export section here that will go through, resolve as many variables as it can, and then export these 2 variables into the SH file. So here we'll grab variant, which is branch name, which then is also being passed in from cloud build. And then same thing like with the versions getting passed in from the build from cloud build plus the SHA. And then we go ahead and create the version, and then we export that as our image tag. It's just a way I found to kind of consolidate all the variables that pertain to a component in a single location instead of having some in here and in the build pipeline and some in other places. So it's just a easy workaround to get everything consolidated in one place.
Smart, man. I can see how you've been building. Okay, I'm trying to. I think
No
finally after
worries.
all these years of all these months of being in Ortelius, I'm finally I'm seeing how your head worked with this. It's bloody smart, man. It's just
So-
really you're piping variables all the time into the next step.
Yep.
And then gathering what is already there instead of having to go and sort of like, I don't know, use a HashiCorp type of tool, right?
Yeah.
Or something. Yes, that's smart.
Yeah, so here we set up that we get our initial SH file, and then like you said, Sasha, we keep on sourcing it in. So we expose those variables over to the next step. So, and that just keeps on happening. Like in this case, we source in the cloud build, which exposes those environment variables. And now we have Docker repo and the image tag exposed for this command. So those 2 are going to come from the image tag here and the component repo. So it's like this multi-pass derivation of stuff that we got going on, but it actually it really simplifies what we're doing in the pipeline and minimizing the need for updates to that process. And like I said, depending upon the the cloud build tool. They do things, they pass data across slightly different. GitHub Actions, you have to use this cache thing, the cache things and between the different steps. So it just depends on what you got going on. But in the end of the day, we basically do our build, we create our Docker image, and then we tell Ortelius or Deploy Hub everything about what we just did. So this TOML file here, plus all the information that we get from Google, we end up with all of this information. So we get the user IDs. We know the user that's being associated to it, the PagerDuty, the Slack channel. Here's like the name that we got from the that we put in the TOML file. The build ID, build date. So the build ID is actually the Google ID that you can reference it to. The build URL, which has like the project name in it and stuff. And then even though we didn't specify in the TOML file stuff about the README, we went and actually looked for a README, a license file, Swagger file, and certain directories, and we loaded those in as information as well. So we grabbed the license file from the repo, the Swagger file at that level. Here's the license for that microservice. And here we can see our additional data coming across, like the commit timestamp. We didn't get any lines added or deleted because we didn't have a previous commit at that level. But this is the data that we're gathering at this process. So like I was telling Arvin, what we need to do is we have.
I want to ask something.
Yep.
I cloned the store recommendation service and I put it in the GitHub.
Yep.
But when I am in the console.deployhub.com in the recommendation service, there are total 6 microservices that are showing to me. So which
Yeah.
one to take consider?
Yeah. So if you go to Ortelius and you do if you do a find repository on store dash, we will see there should be.
I cloned the third one, the store recommendation service.
Yeah. So that's the good starting point. Let me just double check that it was pushed. I can tell by looking at the. Yeah, it was 21 days ago. So there's that. So if we go back to store services, come on. If you look at let's say payment service will still probably be old. So if we look at the cloud build, yeah. So this cloud build is using the old version of the build file, and we can see that it has. I can just tell by the way the arguments are being passed. So this is the old version of the cloud build and probably the old version of the TOML file. So like payment service is one of the ones that we need to update. Yeah, here's the old version of the TOML file. So our goal is to, we have, I believe, what was there, like a dozen of the, store service, store repos that we need to update. So we need to go, so recommendation service will be where we start. We'll just have to call out which one you're going to work on and go ahead and I don't know if you guys can do a direct commit to this.
I can make my branch of my own name and you can merge it later.
Yeah, that could be the way to go. What we'll do is I'll get the security sorted out so you get so we can commit directly to the to the repos without having to do a fork and a branch and all the PRs and stuff like that. Because this is, oh, and the other thing that Sasha, that I found was some of these don't compile anymore because like .NET cores changed and stuff like that. So they retired one of the .NET Core base images. So all we did was we were just stubbing out the Docker file just to get a build. So the Docker file needs to be updated. The component TOML and the cloud build YAML are the three that need to be updated for all of our microservices.
So which one should I pick?
Let's start at the top. Let's see what we got here. Which one did you grab? Arvin, you cloned recommendation.
Yeah. I need to ask one thing. In the console.deployhub.com, in the
Yep.
recommendation service part, there are 6 images or
Oh,
6 microservices are showing.
yeah.
So I
So
don't know which.
you want to take the one that says, so Arvin, you will work on ad service. So this one here, ad service. So you clone ad service as well. And in here, you'll look at ad service main, for example. Let me see if ad service has been done. Some of these I got done, some of them I didn't. But things like here's like the name, the domain name of the service, and the base name of it. So what ends up happening is we take the domain name, so store services dot add service, and then you do dot add service lowercase to come up with the name. So you'll see in that's where it's kind of dotted together at this level. Let me double check ad service if it's old one or.
And for
Yeah.
the component service one, recommended service ones, sorry.
Yeah, so it looks like ad service is done. I don't know about the.
I'm just doing a git fetch all first
Yeah.
before I do something dangerous.
You can't break these, so.
Indestructible.
Because
The
I
Nirvana.
have local copies. So
Okay, the Nirvana of microservices.
it looks like cart service
Yes,
is
so
done. I gotta make a list here. So ad service is done, cart service,
recommendation service is also done
rec.
in the name part.
Yeah. Is email done? So email service needs to be updated. So why don't you grab that one, Arvin?
Yeah, I am grabbing that one.
And let me see what the next one is.
Email service.
Cart service is done. Let's see, shipping.
I think email service is also done. Is name no. It has a glitch maybe.
No, I don't. When I was looking at email, it was not done. Shipping's done. Let's see, currency. So Sasha, if you want to take currency service,
Cool. This for
So,
so it looks like we have 4 left to do, plus the 6 Ortelius ones.
find it down now.
Which one?
The store currency service.
Yeah. So go ahead and clone that one.
Do I need to create my? Can I leave it? Do I need to create my own? Oh no, I can
No,
just leave it on master.
Yeah, you can just do a direct clone, and I'll just, if you can't push to it, I'll fix the security on it.
Yeah.
We're gonna live dangerously with you, Sasha. Direct commits to main on
I've seen your skills, eh?
yeah.
yeah, I want to ask that in email service there are a lot of emails. So which one to take consider?
Share your screen. Let me see what you're looking at.
Yeah, I am sharing the screen.
Currency. Okay. Oh, you said something. Okay, I'll wait till Oven's finished there.
Yeah, that is visible now. Yeah, in this part email service there are.
Oh, yeah. So
That's
the name. So see how it has domain there, the domain column.
yeah.
Next, yeah. So that's going to be, so the name of your component will be that domain name dot email service, all one word, lowercase. So go ahead and copy. Yeah, if you want to go into any one of them, yep, right there. So copy that.
And then paste it in the code part, right?
Yeah, so go into the TOML. You have the old version of the TOML, so you need to grab the TOML from the recommendation service. That's going to be your starting point.
So that I have to paste it here right now.
No, we can go back and get it. So go to recommendation service, the TOML, and no, go back to your editor. And you cloned recommendation service, right?
No, it is the email service.
Right. So you need a starting point. So go
Yeah.
over to GitHub.
Yes.
And go up to Ortelius store dash recommendation.
Yeah, I cloned that part. Let me grab that one. Yeah, this one.
Yep. So go into that one. Now go into nope. What you need is the go into the component.toml there. And say view raw. Copy all that. Copy that whole yep. And now go back to your Visual Studio and paste it in there. So get rid of all that. Perfect. Now, see on line 5, we need to update that to match up with what are you in? Email service. So now go back over
Okay.
to the console. Yep,
Yeah.
copy that.
Now paste.
Yep, and that's gonna go right in there. Now you have to, so that's just the domain name. So now we have to add in the rest of it. So right where your cursor's blinking,
Yeah.
you want to do dot email service all lowercase, or no, right before the quote.
So I have to
Nope, that one
and
stays.
dot
Nope, that stays.
lowercase. So like
Nope,
this.
nope, that stays. We had to append to it. So right before the quote, at the end of the line there.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now do period. So do dot.
Period.
No, do dot. Email service all lowercase smashed together. Yep, perfect. Okay, now the next update you need to make is going to be on line 16. And see, it says recommendation service.
So I have to change it to email service, right?
Exactly, because we're defining everything for this, the email service microservice, and then the
And
repo.
line 20.
Yeah. Cool. And I think that should do it then for that file. Just put a new line at the end. Just a, yeah, there you go. All right, save that one.
Saved it.
All right, now we need to go to your build.yaml. And we need to go back over to GitHub. Go to your, yeah, go back on that. Go back one more. Go to your cloud build.yaml.
Edit of the recommendation service.
Yep, that's the one we want to copy.
Yeah, okay. I
Raw,
can do it
copy that.
quickly.
Now this
Paste it
one,
here.
yep, exactly. Now this one, go ahead, paste the whole thing in there. So get rid of the. Now this one we shouldn't have to make any changes to because there's no hard-coded data in this one pertaining to the component. So just go up to the very top and let's double check. Yep, that all looks good. So save that one.
Yeah, I saved it.
Okay, now let's go ahead and go to, we have one more file to update, which is the Docker file.
I have to grab that all information and paste it here.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Does this?
So just make sure all the files have a blank line at the end. So hit enter.
Okay.
It's a weird thing that people get in the open source world, they get picky about. And it just has to, so that one, on that one, you have to tab back. I think on both of them. So it has to be no spaces. So yeah. So
Okay.
hit yeah, perfect. Oh, one too many.
And now I have to hit enter.
Yeah, hit enter. Now
But
hit delete. There it is. And save that one. I think the same's gonna be in your TOML file.
okay.
Yeah, there it is. Now hit save. It's this weird thing that people want basically a new line at the end of the file. All right, save all those and go ahead and commit them.
Yeah, now I will commit it.
Yep.
And now tell me which one to edit next.
So go ahead and commit and push all those, and we'll do a quick PR on that.
Okay, I will do it and send up here, then I will choose the next. I think it's pretty easy working in this way. Let me see, stop sharing my screen.
So I think the next one's going to be payroll, Arvin.
Okay, I will, let me clone that one.
Yeah, payment service. How you doing there, Sasha?
I'm trying to just actually get rid of my work. They keep hacking. I'm just getting rid of them so I can focus on this.
All right.
Sorry,
No
man.
worries. No worries.
Like, go away, flies. But I've cloned the repo. I just need to make those updates and just go over the changes I need to make for that particular service.
Sorry.
Bless
No
you.
problem. Yeah, let me go in.
So like when I push back code to my GitHub, I have to make another repo in that way. Like instead of pushing to main, I push to Arvind and then send the PR.
That works. Whichever way you want to do it.
Okay.
Let me know when you have your PR created and all.
Yeah.
Goodbye work. Yeah. So, what did I need to do on the store currency service again? The cloud build or the TOML file? I remember you stored all the configuration now in the TOML file. I can see my TOML here.
So go ahead and share your screen.
Where is my VS Code?
All right, cool. So go bring up a GitHub and go to the recommendation service.
If I bring GitHub, like that's my web browser like this.
Yeah. So go
Recommendation.
up. Yeah. So go up to the Ortelius org.
Oh, the actual, okay, it's a microservice. Okay.
Yep. Now there you go. So go into that repo and.
Do I need to do this one?
No, we're going to copy stuff from it.
Oh, cool.
So go to the component. Go to
why don't
component.
I can clone it down. That'll be quicker.
Either way.
Maybe. Yeah.
You only have 3 files to do. So.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
just
so
go to component.toml. And copy that guy.
Okay. And then you put it in here.
Yep. Replace all that. Okay.
And then you said something about.
So now we got to fix this one up because it still has. So if we go up to the top on that one.
It's got the old service name.
On line 5 is the recommendation. So we need to replace that with
Yeah.
which one are you on? Currency.
Currency.
So the easiest thing to do is go over to the Deploy Hub SaaS version and go to console.deployhub.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did something silly, yeah.
Oh, just. Try doing replace that underscore. Yeah, try. Yeah, there's something weird with the redirect on the.
Oh.
I have to figure that out. It's something weird.
Oh, it's something weird on the redirect. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a. When it goes from HTTP to HTTPS, it gets confused. Okay, username will be Stella99.
I think I've got it in here. There we go.
Yeah. Okay, now go to components. And you're working on email, right?
I'm doing the store currency service.
Currency. So change your filter there up at the top. The little where it says text email. Yeah.
Get rid of that.
And go to version. And then just scroll down to or hit S.
Let's do this.
Or C, sorry. Yeah, select that.
Which one do I select? This one?
The short one.
The short one.
Okay. So now you have your domain name there.
Oh, is this the version it is at? And this is the commit, right?
Yeah.
ID. Cool.
So and that's going to get generated from the build process. But we want to grab the domain name because the domain name here is different than the domain name for recommendation service.
Yeah, I basically want to copy this whole thing, right?
Yep.
And I want to replace this, yeah.
Yeah. And then the last part of that, you're going to do a dot and then currency service, all one word, lowercase. everything lowercase. That's going to be the name of the service.
Like that.
Perfect. Yep.
Cool.
Now on line, you can copy that because you're going to need it on line 15, just the currency service part, the last, yeah, that part. So you'll see the chart.
Yeah.
16.
And here.
Yep.
And here.
Yep. And everything else is pretty much that we're going to keep the same.
Cool. And is that all you need done for these services?
Yeah, for this one.
Okay, cool.
So so just put a new line character at the end of the file.
New line. Oh. Oops.
Yeah.
Does it want it? So it
Yep.
wants it to.
There
What
it
is
is.
this? Is this the TOML file? Oh yeah. TOML's cool. I like that.
I
must
like
say,
it. It works. Okay, now we need to do the cloud bill file. That YAML.
Okay. Yes, the cloud build YAML file.
Yeah. So this one here, this is the old one, and it has stuff hard coded in it. And what we're going to do is we're going to go back over to GitHub and we're going to go grab the one from recommendation service.
I think I am able to send PR to the master branch.
Okay, perfect. And yep, go up to there.
Kind of using this one as your template in a way, right?
Yep. Cloudbuild.yaml. Now this one we can grab the whole thing because there's no hard coded stuff in it. So
cool. It's all dynamic.
Yeah,
All
because we moved,
variables.
like I said, we moved it out of here and put it into. So this one is going to be just copy it and we'll just paste it right into your Visual Studio. And that's the nice thing when we move to this method, is it really separates out what you have to do to your pipeline. So if you have a Jenkins pipeline or, whatever, we just insert our couple little commands in there and then there's no hard coded variables.
Yeah.
All right, now you just need to do the Docker file.
This is all the info you needed.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I would love to spend some more time just understanding how your brain works here because it's super cool. But yep. I got a little bit there. Yes, it's amazing. You don't need a HashiCorp or any of those things. You're already using what's already there. Smart, man. Jeez,
now go to
smart.
Docker file, and this one we're just going to, if you go back to the recommendation service, and you'll see the Docker file. It's just a 2-line. I got tired of dealing with compile errors.
Oh, come here, man. Stop being.
Okay, cool.
No, I just need to get rid of all of this.
Yep. Perfect. And same thing here, new line at the end. Just get in the habit of doing that. Folks.
Okay.
All right. Now you're ready to commit and push it.
Cool. What do I call my PR? I mean, not my PR. What do I call my commit? Is there something you want me to call it?
It doesn't matter.
I said it.
TOML.
I changed.
Yep, TOML will work.
Cloud while and. Oh.
Okay, there we go. Push. What? Access denied. Sasha.
1 second.
Get denied.
Which one was it?
Store currency.
All right.
This is cool, man. I'm loving this teaming up. Sorry, I just had to get rid of my work.
No
they've
worries.
They've had enough of me. I've given them enough of me, should I say. Give more resources back to my machine.
Okay, you should be able to update that directly.
There you go.
Okay, cool. Now I'm going to share my screen.
Okay. Let me look at your screen.
I'm going to hijack it, I think. Okay.
Hmm.
So we'll just take your update you just did. You did currency.
Hmm.
Come on. Okay. So we just did the update and we can see we have some failures coming in. Oh, I know what that is. I have to, it's failing on the deployment because I forgot to start something.
I want to understand that sec comp more.
All right. So if we go over to the console,
Mm-hmm. So what other way? Okay, yeah, so doing with all your environment variables, obviously, if you're just using Google, then you could just put it all into their secrets and config manager, really, right? Environment variables and all that. But because it has to be cloud agnostic, you have to find a way of making it dynamic no matter what environment you're in, right?
well,
And that's why.
and a lot of the variables, these are build time variables, which are different than Kubernetes runtime variables.
Okay, yeah, build time and runtime. That's actually cool. That makes sense.
So like the branch name, the Git repo, those are the ones that are what we need to gather from the build.
That makes sense.
So let's see here. What is it failing on? So we are running into a tag problem. So here, let me make my screen bigger so you can, and I'll zoom in a little bit.
Yeah, I've got it on full screen, so it's still good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of walk through what we have going on.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, let me do this. I'm going to do a side-by-side kind of. So just to give you kind of like the Google world. Okay. So one of the first things we did the git vars step. So this is the command that we're running on the left, and over here on the right is the results of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I get zoom out of the way. So
I
what
tried
ends
to
up
do a build
happening?
now, and then it
Yeah.
failed. Away.
So it did the build, and the first step that it did was it installed the pip, so we can see pip is being installed. We've installed the deploy hub CLI.
Yeah.
And then we're going to create the environment shell script from the workspace. Now, the one thing here is it doesn't look like we have a component toml file for some reason.
Oh, no, I see. Oh, it's called cloudbuild.toml here.
Ah, so we need to do a rename.
Rename, yeah.
I totally missed that. So Arvin, did you catch that?
I sent both PR.
Oh, okay.
But
So it must be
I
component or
think
TOML, right?
component.tom. I'll get it on for Arvin.
Okay, cool.
no, I will send another PR if you want.
Okay. Yeah, if you don't mind, that'll be the easiest. I completely forgot that we renamed it to be more generic.
Makes sense. It's because it's the TOML for the component, right? So yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then because of that, when we got down to the actual build step, these variables for the tag weren't defined because
Yeah.
the TOML wasn't there, and because the TOML wasn't there, we didn't derive what these new variables were.
So what we have to edit in the component or TOML file?
Yeah, it's going to change from cloud-build.toml to component.toml. And it looks like, Sasha, you just pushed.
I did, yeah. Sorry, I hope that was okay.
No, not going to break anything.
Okay, cool. I just renamed
I
the
think
file.
we can change it in the PR also. I think.
Yeah, you could do a rename and push, and you could reuse the same PR.
I will do it in the GitHub also without cloning the code.
So you'll see here, let me make this bigger, is we downloaded
the YAML or TOML file, sorry.
The TOML. So the cloud build.yaml stays the same, and it'll be component.toml as part of that. So now we'll just walk through what happened. Was we installed pip, we downloaded the CLI, and then we rendered the we read in the TOML file, which is what this is doing, and it's going through and replacing variables that it currently knows about. So it will grab information and replace what it can, and then it creates the new it goes through and creates
the shell script from the TOML file.
Yep, and here's the resulting environment variables as part of the shell script. So
that's some serious ninja skills, man.
So the one that's kind of interesting that you got to double check on is version. So we should have in the list here. Oh, then we're going to export version as image tag. So do we have a decent looking image tag? Nope. So image tag is missing. The reason why I could tell is it's missing the build number. So I'll have to look at. I think it's on the script side. Not any changes that you did.
Okay.
So what ends up happening is, so these are all the new variables. Like, so here, Sasha, we figured out the lines of code that changed.
No ways, that's insane. That's how many lines of code changed. 2,140.
Between the last commit that we did and the new one. So the 2,000 lines of code is going to be all the changes to the cloud build.
Cloud build. Oh yeah, the cloud build.
In those.
Yeah, that's amazing. And this is all put into Ortelius, of course, right? So you can get all this information.
Yep. So if we go over to Ortelius now, and let me log on here.
I can.
You should be able
to. Does Ortelius does it auto refresh? So you can see these.
You have to tell it to refresh.
Okay.
So currency.
It's not a big deal.
So here it is right here, master.
No ways, there it is. Hey, that is so amazing. This is so cool to see how it fits together, you know, the information that we just changed and how it appears in the UI, right?
Yeah. So there's our build ID. So I don't think that project may not have a README in the root. I don't know. Double check.
I can
See if
check.
there's a. Is there anything like
Um,
README or license in the root of that project? I don't think so.
No, there's not that I can see. No, there's nothing here. There's no license or README here.
Yeah. So that's the reason why we didn't get those uploaded. And then we have all of our, nice information as part of that process. So our Slack channel. I have to check. There's some things that aren't quite coming across, like the business URL isn't quite right.
Mm.
That all looks good.
This is such a cool session to do this kind of sessions because it helps you. It's helping me really understand the correlation between what I'm doing on the repo and what is happening in the UI, right?
Yeah.
It's very
So,
nice.
Yeah,
Arvin.
I changed the name of boot file and I recommitted the
Okay.
send the PR again.
All right. Let me look at.
I think we can do this type of session. It is really amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool, Steve. Thanks for your time. Cheapers.
No problem. This is like one of those things that. Whoops. I want to go to yes. And you're working on email. So let's go ahead and merge this one.
Zach is
And
also,
this should take off here any second.
and another is a payment one.
Yeah. And then Sasha, if you want to do one more real quick, there's
yeah,
load.
give me one.
It's
Which
called
one
like
do you want me to do?
Load Balancer or Load something.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find that quickly.
So Arvin's is cruising along here.
Load generator, is that the one?
Yeah, that's the one.
Cool.
Hope is the not. Hope is don't break.
Yeah, build number didn't get picked up on his either. So if you want to look at so Arvin's, yours finished successfully. So if we go back over to the console, go to components, and that was for email. It's had a few. Is that right? Email? Yeah, email.
I think we have to reload the page. 73F.
I'm guessing it's gonna be this one.
Yeah, this one. The date is today.
Yeah. And see in yours, we brought in your README is a real small README file, just like one line in it. So we brought all that information in as part of that. So that one looks good. Cool.
There is another one that I can do.
You can start on the ones for our microservices, and we can. I have to run here soon, but if you look, if you search our repo on MS dash, we have all of these microservices that we need to work on.
And we have to do the either same thing.
Yep. I'll drop the list in because it's a little bit shorter than the one we have here. But I will some of these I may archive.
Please send it in the Discord, and I will do it in next 1-2 days.
Yep. Yeah, I'll drop them in Discord and we can put them in place. Now these, I'll give you a different login because they go to a different domain structure in Ortelius. So we've logged on with the Stella, which is the user ID. And so I think it's Ortelius.
I just need permission on the.
Oh,
sorry. When you finished with Arvin there, no, when you finished.
Yeah.
On the load.
So this one will go into a different domain. So the user ID is Ortelius. For those, I think that's what it is. Yeah, there they are. So, whoops.
Yeah, I don't mind doing, like Arvin said as well, I don't mind helping out. Arvin and I can crush these for you.
Yep, that's the big thing is just to divide and conquer on these.
Yeah, we can just split the list up and just go for it.
So this
we can create PRs, right? So then you can check it, obviously, before you merge it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those will all be PRs because you probably won't have direct access to those.
No, that I don't want direct. That's a smart move.
So these will be the naming convention will be slightly different, but the main part will be in the domain ortelius.sas.
Yeah, I want to learn how to use this TOML process that you've got going in my own stuff at work because it's like super awesome, man. It's like so much faster than
Now the trick on this is if you look at
please share some resources to learn about the TOML and YAML file.
Yeah, so it's this repo, Sasha, is the command line interface. So this is just written in Python.
Cool.
And there's two pieces to it. There's the back end piece, which is going to be all the RESTful API calls that we make. So what I've done is I've created just some functions to make life easier, just like getting a JSON file, posting a JSON file. It's this, you'll see like it's going to deploy an application by application ID. And this is where we're actually making the call up to the RESTful API endpoints. And it does things like just, figure out if it was success, clean up the data that it gets back. So that's what this first one is the API interface. The other one is the driver, which is in the bin directory. And this one is where all the actions occur. So the actions that we've been working with today are the update comp and like the env script one, this one here. So let's say if you want to look at env script, so for me to figure out that bug.
Is this your central repo for your script that gleans all that information together, right?
Yep. So this guy is going to be where we, do some crazy stuff here. So this is that first step which is here. So we're going to read in the TOML file, and we're going to read in the environment variables, and we're going to create that shell script as our output. So this is where we actually read in the files. One of the things I do, it seems to work better, is I actually just cat the file and I pipe it through a decoder. There's other ways to do it, but this seems to work the best for loading in the TOML. And then this is just a Python module, qtoml. There's another one out there just called TOML, but it's not, it doesn't work as well. So this one, qtoml, will take the TOML file and convert it into a dictionary.
Smart.
And then we want to see if we need to, I wrote just a helper function to tell me if something's defined or not in Python. If it is, we go through it and read in the existing sh file, and then we're going to append to it. And so what this is doing, saying if I don't pass in the name of the file, I'm going to go and just give it a default. And then we go ahead and open that up, and we pull the information together at the dictionary level. And this is where I have to look to see why the build number is not coming across.
Oh, there's your script build date.
Yep.
Component. Okay. So you got to figure out something there.
And then what ends up happening is you end up looping through the keys in the dictionary. So we do a multi-pass on it, and that's where we actually end up writing out the environment variables to that. And there's another one. Can't remember where it is. But there's a neat function in Python. It's like a string function that'll look for this bracketed type of variable and allow you to do a search and replace in any text string for that type of format.
Are you talking about the F string?
What was that, Arvin?
That's very amazing.
F string.
Yeah. So
it's a feature in the Python.
Yeah. So let's see, this one's like update component. And one of the things that we do is load in the dictionary again, the TOML file. So we'll read that in, and sometimes we'll need to do some cleanup on it. So you'll see in the code where I actually go and clean up stuff at part of the process. So I think at main I do some loading.
Cool.
But that's kind of the I can walk you through if you I try to document this pretty good, but it's just been growing.
Yeah, I can see your lines of code have been expanding. Thank you. Thanks, babe. Yeah.
So
yeah,
this is it comes in handy with the with moving, things. You can't do everything in a shell script. So
yeah.
Let me see if it's in here.
I shared in chat for Sasa. That's true. I shared in chat for you.
Oh, thanks, Arvind.
Yeah. Yeah, F strings.
F strings, okay.
And
I still need to get better at my Python stuff. Something I really want to, but cheapest time, they're so crazy.
And we had to use some like flatten stuff as part of that. But it comes out, it gives us a nice little solution. Like I said, I have to go figure out why build number's not coming across.
Yeah.
Oops, that's just a link. But that's kind of what's happening. That's driving the whole process. So taking the the TOML file or taking the TOML file and, massaging the data and pulling information from the pipeline. And then, our end result is uploaded to, as a component data. Now, other things that we're going to be, the README, the Swagger, there's more data that we want to start capturing along that. So we'll keep on expanding. And if you think about anything else that would be important, Sasha, especially for like what you've been doing, if there's anything that the developers or the SREs want to know about a component that we should capture, let me know and we can make sure, because this attributes list can be pretty infinite. So if we want any other metadata associated with the component, we'll be able to grab it.
Yeah, I still want to do it is deploy Ortelius into my current environment and use it for myself. And then I can actually show people, right? Look, I'm using Ortelius to help me with my day-to-day, and like show them what it can actually do in a real environment, right? Yeah, so I'd love to I want to plug it in. So it'd be quite cool to do a session like that to see how do you deploy Ortelius in your own environment.
Yeah, and I think with us getting the Helm chart sorted out and doing like one-click installs and stuff like that through Rancher of Ortelius or Terraform, we'll be able to make it easy to set up and get going.
Yeah, because that's I want to see it working in the environment, because I'm moving applications. I get a project, I have to move it across into the cloud, and I'm doing loads and loads of builds and all that all the time, right?
Yeah.
And I'd love to capture my own team stuff, right? And just see how Ortelius presents it and show people what it can do, right?
Yeah. And all you have to do is literally, if you don't have anything fancy, let's say you're like, the only reason, like image tag, I had a drive from the data here, but if the image tag is already derived by Jenkins or the build system, it's just going to be something that we can use, and we can actually skip this first step of generating the SH file. So
okay.
So literally, when you go into your pipeline, all you have to do is plop in these 8 lines of code and a TOML file, and you'll start gathering all this information about it automatically.
So I deploy Ortelius into a Kubernetes cluster, right?
Yep.
And then I can because at the moment we're using Jenkins and we have a config.json file which we use for doing the build. Then all I would need to do, what would I need to do? Add extra configuration into.
You just need to add a shell command to run the DH update. And then you just have your component TOML file that you worked with today in your repo, and you're good to go.
Oh my word! Okay, keepers. Okay, I'll start setting it up right away. Actually,
don't worry. We need to clean up a couple things, and
okay. Let me wait then. Yeah, cool.
But we're getting there.
Okay, awesome, Steve. I can't wait to show people, because I've talked about it. I presented it actually as a solution for the future pipelines for work and stuff. So now I want to show people, right?
Yep. And then there's a whole another part we'll talk about with producers and consumers and mapping out service relationships, CVEs, Libiers. Those are the things that we are working on as well. So you can, as part of this, we can actually scan. You could use like SIFT to scan the Docker image to give us a list of all the packages that are installed in the image, and then we can go and correlate that to the CVE database and roll that all up to the application layer.
Oh, that's so cool. Can't wait.
So I gotta run, guys.
Okay, thank you, Steve.
All right, thanks for helping out today.
That was so cool, man.
And give it a go for those other repos. I'll drop the list later today in which ones we need to tackle. There's like 6 of them.
Yeah, cool. No problem. I can take 3. I can take 3.
Yeah, I want to ask one thing. I learned about the Docker and then the Helm chart. Then what should I learn next?
I think the Helm chart, advanced Helm charts would be, nested Helm charts, or what are they called? Parent sub. Helm charts would be the next one. And we're going to be working on that with Ortelius, so you'll get a feel for it with that. But that's the
So
one you
yeah,
should research. Child,
will.
I think they're called child or sub charts.
Right.
Basically,
I
you
will
want to
revise
be able
my
to.
Helm.
Basically, you want to be able to install like 5 different charts from different repos. So if you look like at the WordPress one off of Bitnami's site, it'll install like Mongo, it'll install WordPress itself, and then there's like a couple other containers that it uses. I think like an Nginx front end. So these more complex Helm charts is what I'd start looking at. The other one is Customize. Customize is pretty cool. I like it a lot versus Helm. So look at Customize as well for updating the Kubernetes files.
Oh, I'd
So
love
yeah,
to
in
just.
next
I did a. Sorry. Okay, Steve, I'll let you go.
I got to run.
Yeah. Cheers.
yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks,
Have a great
Steve.
day.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.